Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Ivory Cooks, a seasoned top producer with Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, an accomplished top producer with more than 25 years in the business. He's a member of the Master Broker Forum and also he's on the board of the Florida International University Real Estate Institute. The insights, the knowledge he shares with us during the interview are just unbelievable. He talks, for example, about the importance of networking, his techniques on networking I never hear before, and the way it's working for him, it's unbelievable. You can't miss this part of the interview, how not only to network, but also how to market yourself. He also talks about how to improve your listing presentation, a key part of your real estate business. And finally, he talks about what's working for him and what he changed in terms of his social media platform, in terms of his social media strategy that is working very, very well for him. You can't miss this interview. He also talks about the foundation of real estate. He learned from his mentor more than 25 years ago that you need to acquire, to get the foundation of real estate before you turn. He says, you need to learn the foundation of real estate in order to turn your license into dollars. And that he learned from his mentor more than 25 years ago, listen to this, that you need to treat this business like a farmer. Whatever you're doing today is what's setting you up for success in the future. So I hope you enjoy and learn from this interview as much as I did. Without further ado, I leave you with Ivory Cooks, top producer with Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate for more than 25 years. Guys, make it a very, very productive day. Take care.
DowntownDoral.com, a true modern metropolis where business and pleasure mix together. Envisioned by the renowned developer Armando Codina, Downtown Doral is located next to the world-famous Trump National Golf Course. When finished, it will consist of 10 residential towers designed by renowned architects like Sigur Suarez, Carlos Ott, and Arquitectonica. It will have first-class shops, restaurants, and a charter school. The first tower is already in construction and to be delivered in the first quarter of 2016. Its second tower, called 5300 Paseo, with a total of 219 units, starts at just $280,000 and has an anticipated delivery in mid-2016. Downtown Doral, an elegant lifestyle and a safe place to call home. For more information, visit downtowndoral.com or call 305-392-5800. That's downtowndoral.com or call 305-392-5800.
Welcome to another edition of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the true pleasure to interview a legend in Coconut Grove, Florida, a top producer with Coldwell Banker, Ivory Cooks. Ivory, thank you very much for having me in your office in beautiful Coconut Grove, Florida.
Thank you for being here.
It's a true honor and a true pleasure. So, I like to get started always every single episode with asking you, what's your background? What were you doing before real estate? How long have you been in real estate? Mm-hmm. And what made you come into the business?
Well, I was a flight attendant for a major airline for 17 years. Okay. And that company went out of business and I had to reinvent myself. So I got my real estate license and I've been a realtor now for 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years. And I've been with Coldwell Banker
for the entire time.
Absolutely.
There are 4 things, and I wanted to write it down because the broker of this office is a good friend of mine, and when I asked him, what could I say at the beginning of the conversation about Ivory, and he said some, very good things. So number 1 was you're a legend in real estate, 25 years. Being number 1 in this office, and I think in Coconut Grove actually, and I think you missed only 1 year being the top agent. Number 2, you're a great ambassador of the area, Coconut Grove. Number 3, he said you like the good life.
I don't know about that.
Right. And
I like to travel.
Right. You like to travel, all right. And that you've won many awards with Coldwell Banker, and I think you were recognized 2 days ago.
Last week
with
the International Diamond Society as one of the top producing agents for 2014 for Coldwell Banker.
Excellent. So you came into the business 25 years ago. You came from the airline traveling industry, I guess.
Right.
And what made you come into real estate?
Well, back then, a partner and I, we used to buy older houses and fix them up and flip them. And the realtors that we would work with, they used to say that I had a knack for finding the right properties and that I would really be good at this business. So they kept telling me, why don't you get your real estate license? And I said, there's no way. There's just no way I could make it. Well, when the airline went out of business, it was actually Eastern Airlines. I was forced to do something else, and I had already got my license about 6 months before Eastern went under. I was preparing for just in case Eastern went under, that at least I would have my real estate license, but in all sincerity, I really didn't think that I could make it as a realtor full time.
And how did you find out the airline went down? I know the answer because you just said it. But
well, it's really strange because 25 years ago, when you started as a new agent with Coldwell Banker, you had to work with an agent that was already experienced, and you had to work with that agent for 6 months. So I was assigned to work with Carol Clock. She's my mentor.
So that was my next question. Did you have a mentor?
Yes.
So you did.
Carol Clock and also Jim Carnegas. So I worked with both of them at the beginning, and I was still flying. So this one day, I was at work at the office with Coldwell Banker, but I had my crew bag with me so that I would change clothes because I had a flight to Los Angeles that afternoon. And someone called the office and said, turn on the news, Eastern Airlines just went under.
Oh my God.
And that's the day that it was, oh my God.
Exactly.
And here I am 25 years later.
All right. So you had not one, and I know at least you mentioned 10 right now, and I know you had several mentors or a few mentors through the years.
Right.
What did you learn from those 2 mentors at the beginning of your career or your business, the way we would like to call it?
Well, at the beginning of my career, I would say as far as Jim Carnegas, he was he was almost retired, so he'd been in the business about 30 years. Jim taught me to be very organized. And he taught me to get a book and to log in every single call that came in, the telephone number, and a brief description of the conversation, so that I would have that to go back to. Because back then, you have to realize, 25 years ago, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the iPhone. We didn't have the emails. So that, to this day, believe it or not, even though I have my iPhone, and I still log in brief minutes about the day, calls that come in, and especially appointments that I have. Carol taught me to be organized in as far as marketing, and she told me that you have to treat it like it's a farm, like a farmer. That I had to plant a seed, and to plant that seed, I had to start with selecting an area that I wanted to concentrate in. And she showed
not going all over town.
Yeah, you can't be everywhere, she said. So you have to refine where you want to be, and you have to hit those people consistently all the time with marketing pieces. And she said, and you have to realize that a farmer doesn't reap from his fruit instantly. He's not going to get it for maybe 6 or 7 months later, the next season. So what you have to realize, what you're doing now is setting you up for success in the future. And that's what I learned from Carol Clock.
So that's a great point. Most, especially new agents, they're so desperate about the commission today that they send a piece of mail, marketing piece today, and if they don't get the response, then they don't try it next month. And as you said, it's like the farmer's job. It takes time to reap the rewards. 2 weeks ago, I had the pleasure also to interview another top producer, Riley Smith.
He's excellent.
And
of course. He's a king of real estate.
But he spoke very highly about you. And he said, you have to interview Ivory. So here I am today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And he said, you taught him a lot of things in the business. And one of those things was organization. So back then, as you said, you didn't have the iPhone, the computers that we have today. However, forward 25 years later, what tips, what can you tell our audience? What do you use in terms of tools or software for organizing for setting your day for success, organizing your day to be very, very productive?
Well, I start my day out at Coral Bagels. It's a small...
I like that. Very good. Okay.
I mean, it's a small little restaurant. It's in a corner of Coconut Grove, just off of US 1. And if you will, it's something like Versailles over in Coral Gables, because anything political that happens with the Cuban community, it happens at Versailles. And all the movers and shakers of that dynamic, they're there.
Yeah, on 8th Street. On 8th Street, right?
Exactly. And Coral Bagels is our Versailles in Coconut Grove, and that we have all the top lawyers, judges, firemen, the police officers. They all meet there in the morning. So I go there.
How often do you go there?
I go there every morning, Monday through Friday.
Every Monday, exactly. That's discipline, organization,
and
consistency.
I do it for networking.
Right.
It's a great networking opportunity, because people will stop by my table and ask me, how do you see the market? Or I have a friend that's moving down here and they're thinking about buying a place. So it's a good way. And also that today, with all of our technology and emailing and texting our clients and friends, that every now and then I see that my clients, especially the builders, they want to eyeball me, sit across the table and have a conversation with me in person.
Right.
And they're busy during the day, throughout the day with their business, and in the evening with their families. So what better time than in the mornings?
So that's pre-working routine.
Right. So that's how I start out.
And for how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for about 12 years.
12 years consistently.
Yes.
Most days, almost every day, going to Coral Bagels.
That's how I start my morning.
I've been in Miami for 23 years and I haven't been there, so I need to go there.
That's good.
All right. So anything else that you use for organization? So first of all, you set up your day. You make sure that you have that routine every single day.
Right.
People get to see you. You are out there. And before we had the interview off camera, as you were telling me, many success stories by going there for so many years, so often, the builders, the new listings, the new closings, anything else that you do after that in a daily basis.
Sure. And I guess I'm a creature of habit.
Which is amazing, which is great.
I quite frequently, I would say at least 3 or 4 days a week, I have lunch at Cafe Beachy, which is in Cocoa Walk.
Okay.
And it's that, I like Italian food, but there's a purpose of me doing it, going there. The main purpose is because I sit outside, and everybody, all the offices in Mayfair, all the people coming from there, they pass through Cocoa Walk to go have lunch wherever they're having lunch. It could be a Jaguar or the sushi bar, whatever. So I'm constantly seeing people. Then I have no problem. People are always stopping by my table. Oh, again, I have a friend that's thinking about selling her house. I gave her your name. Or how do you see the market? So it's about being visible, and that's another way for me to be visible.
Right.
So,
I want you guys to see the pattern here. So Ivory is very repetitive. Going to the same place every day. You're farming an area in terms of marketing. So they see your marketing pieces. They see you out there in the little community of Coconut Grove. For those of you who are not from Miami, it's a very high-end area in Miami, by the water, by the bay. So it's just one thing after the other. It's just every day going to the same place. Then the marketing pieces, you're reinforcing, and you're getting to your clients, to your buyers, sellers, builders, in different aspects, different ways. Right? Perfect. So what are some of the common problems you see real estate agents facing today?
Well, I think that today it's harder to get listings. The market has changed a little bit. Some people are still waiting to regain the equity that they lost in their homes. So they're not ready to put them on the market. And also that we've been spoiled by having all the investors that were basically cash buyers that were in the market, And now that the cash buyers are dwindling a little bit, the percentage of cash buyers has gone down. And that's primarily because the euro is so high against the dollar. The currency in Brazil is not doing well against the dollar. So these people that were the ones that were pushing the cash deals are not there. So that's where I see that we're seeing a little bit of a change.
The financing.
And also for the end user, we're dealing more now with an end user, which is getting a mortgage. And to qualify for their mortgage, it's a lot more stringent than it used to be. So it's a lot tougher.
Let me go back to the previous question, because I just remind something. I want to go through your whole day of a very successful agent. So you wake up. What time do you get to the office?
9:30.
9:30. Do you come to the office every single day?
I come to the office every morning, every day, Monday through Friday, and actually I come to the office on Saturday around 11.
Okay, so you are here. You take this as a serious business, serious job.
I always have. I've never worked from home. That's not my style.
Exactly.
I mean, it's good for some people.
For some people, it works.
I mean, I have colleagues that they do their best work in their pajamas. They tell me at home. But that's not. I need the structure. I think, and I think
most of us in real estate, I say that one of the biggest problems we have in this business is the type of contract we sign with a broker, which is the independent contractor agreement, which means I can do anything. The flexibility. There's no accountability because our broker can't tell us what to do.
Exactly.
So establishing that routine early in the morning, you first go to the restaurant, got a bagels, then you come here from 9:30 until what time?
I'm usually here until like 4:30.
4:30, right? And then what do you do?
Then I go to the gym. I work out.
And where's the gym?
And the gym is 2 blocks away.
And you go to work. Exactly.
So if something I go to the gym, and if normally after the gym I can go home, I can handle my business via emails, you know. But if there's something that there's a client waiting for me or a client is going to come back, then I shower at the gym and I go back to the office. It's 2 blocks away. All
right. So basically, you take care of listing presentations. Usually
during the day or in the evening.
Or during the day, right.
I work my training schedule. I work around my business. So that's not a problem.
All right, perfect. Right. So, what traits do you believe make a successful real estate agent in today's market?
I think in any market, that the number one trait for a successful real estate agent is integrity. I think that's the number one. And I think also persevering. You know,
let's talk about perseverance. Most people get the license, and the way I put it when I'm coaching agents, it's that they see 3 things, right? Number 1, easy money. Right? Why? Because if my neighbor did it, you know, and she or he made $70, $80, $100,000 last year, I can do that too.
Right.
Number 2, I don't need to know a lot, right? So it's going to be quick, easy, and quick. And number 3, the company is going to teach me everything that I need in case I don't know anything. You know, there's something that I don't know. The company is going to teach me everything that I need. Yet we need to know that this is a business, right? So we need to take care of our business. So we have the integrity, right? But you also talk about, you know, being disciplined. What disciplines do you see in top producers that the routines they do on a daily basis to improve their business?
Well,
characteristics they have.
Number 1 is they return phone calls. The number 1 thing is they return calls. And this is an issue that it's not sound.
I hear that before in the interviews many times.
For me, it's easier to return to either answer your call. Than to have to listen to your voicemail and go back. So I always, if the phone rings, I'm going to answer it. But if I don't answer it, I'm certainly going to get back to you. And I think that that's so important, and our clients expect that. You know, so returning calls, being timely. You know, there's so many instances where maybe I go and show a property. It's my listing, and the agent doesn't show up. And then you call them, and it goes to their voicemail. In the meantime, today a lot of times the properties are rented, so you've asked the tenant to step out. You know, so it's I would say, you know, your integrity, being timely, returning calls, I know it's elementary,
right?
But it needs to be done.
Now, you've been doing this for 25 years successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Number one thing we need, and I'm going to take this from Riley's actually interview. He said we don't sell real estate, we sell confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get that confidence, what do we need? We need the knowledge, right?
Trust.
How do you prepare yourself in a daily or weekly basis to absorb and to memorize and internalize all that knowledge? So when you go to a presentation,
mm-hmm.
you're not only talking about what you did in the past, you're not only talking about your great company, Coldwell Banker, but you're also giving value to your client in terms of knowledge.
Well, I think it's
resources.
Education is always
Okay.
always evolving.
Okay.
And one thing
Right.
about Coldwell Banker
Mhm.
is they're excellent about training.
Okay.
We have a training session right
Right.
now. So I try to go to all the training sessions that are offered me.
And still, after 25 years,
yes.
you still go to the sessions.
Yes, and actually
Okay.
yesterday there was a training session on social media marketing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I was here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't think that I'm it's
Right.
beneath me to do this, because
Right.
I think, like you said,
Right.
that I'm helping, doing what my clients would expect me
Right.
to stay on top of the game
Right.
here. So,
Do you have any routines in terms of getting information from the MLS or from any automatic response or alerts that you do on a daily basis?
I don't have any automatic alerts that I get.
Okay.
No, but I'm an avid reader.
Okay.
So I'm always reading the real estate magazines
Okay.
that we get.
Okay.
I'm online reading.
Okay. You
like
mentioned
I
to
said-
me that you research for section 41 and 32 in a daily basis usually.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So every day I get I do a scan on the area. This area, which is Area 41, which encompasses Brickell,
Right.
Coral Gables, Coconut Grove,
Parts of downtown.
and parts of downtown. And
Right.
Area 32, which is on the Edgewater
Right.
corridor, which would be Paramount Bay, Opera Tower, all up in there, Morningside.
Okay.
So I get a scan, and that scan I can see what has sold,
Okay.
what is currently coming on the market, and what is expired.
Okay.
So I get that every day.
Every-
So that's
okay.
how I keep an eye on the on my area.
How long does it take you to do that?
Oh, it takes 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
In
It's
the
not.
computer,
It's
it
not
takes
that
10
difficult. It's
It's
not
very
that difficult.
easy.
And as a matter
It's
of
very
fact,
easy.
next day, once you start in the routine, start doing that routine.
It's
next
part of my
day
routine every morning when I get.
and you see pretty much the same thing every day.
Because I don't want to go to Coral Bagels in the morning and
Okay.
have one of my clients
Okay.
come up and go, Ivory, how much are they asking for the house on my street? Okay?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
and by this scan that I see, I'm on top of it. You know, and I
Exactly.
would, I think that's why it's really
Right.
important. Plus, it helps me when someone does call me and ask me to list their house to do a presentation. I have a better picture before I even arrive at their home as to what's going on in their neighborhood.
And it takes you
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. It's not about how
No,
much
10
you do
minutes.
it.
It's
And
very good.
when we're coaching agents, we talk about consistency, discipline, and focus.
Right.
Those are the three keys to this business.
Absolutely.
It's not about studying for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's not how hard you
once
work,
a
it's how
week.
smart you work.
Exactly. It's just doing it every day for 12 to 15 minutes. It's much better. You retain that information,
Absolutely.
and you become a true expert. So, can you share a failure?
Oh,
right?
God.
I know in 25 years,
Failure?
everybody.
What's that word?
Exactly. It's never happened to you. So, one that stick to you and that you learn from.
Well, I would say I'm very blessed, very fortunate
Okay.
that I haven't had very
Catastrophic failure. or
no,
anything like
no.
that.
But one that sticks in my mind that wasn't too long ago. I worked for a builder, and we sold a townhome, brand new construction.
Okay.
We got the buyer got our financing, and basically we're ready. We were at the closing table. It was the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. I represented the seller. The buyer had her own realtor. The buyer was moving out of the apartment that she was renting. She had all of her stuff, her furnishings, in a truck.
Okay.
And we're at the closing table, and a minor issue came up that with the builder, the title company discovered that he owed a fee, a bank fee, a construction fee to the bank that he had on his construction loan when he built the property. But the builder's lawyer had a letter it was an email letter from the bank's officer waiving that fee, and the fee was around $35,000. Well, the closing agent, the title company, they wouldn't close unless they wanted to get an official letter from the lender, from the bank,
right,
saying that this fee had been waived. So they contacted the bank right away in the closing, and unfortunately the bank officer, they said whoever they spoke to that this fee, yes, it's waived, but the officer that waived it is no longer with our bank.
Okay.
And he's on vacation.
Okay, imagine.
So,
okay.
Oh my God. So there was a little drama there, and the buyer is getting very agitated. And so finally what we came to an agreement, or they tried to agree, was to let the buyer move into the property for 1 week while they sorted this out, and they would get the letter the following week. Well, the buyer got very upset, and all of a sudden she had signed 3/4 of the papers. All of a sudden she just picked up the papers and started ripping them up right there in front of us. I was in shock. I never saw something like this in all my years. And she grabbed her purse and told the builder, "You can keep your house," and literally walked out. It's like made for TV. Okay?
Oh my God! So what did you learn from that?
What I learned from that story, Orlando, I learned that as a realtor, we are not paid, and the deal is not done until we walk out of that closing with our check in our hand.
Going to the bank.
And I know that today sometimes they wire the commission check, but you know what I'm saying. That what I'm getting at is that it's not. I learned that just because you go to the closing table doesn't mean that it's going to close.
Exactly.
Because things can come up at the closing table that are totally out of your control. So that was.
Now it's very important because many agents are counting with the commission 2-3 months in advance. So as you said, unless you have the check in your hand, the deal is not done.
Right.
So any success story that comes,
I would say one of the most recent success stories for me is that I got a new listing last year, and I tried to condense it down, but what happened was the seller wanted to list the house more than what I felt the house should be listed at. And it goes back to, I've always taken pride in telling the seller what I really think the house is worth. I've never been a realtor to come to the table and just say a high number just to get the listing, and then come back to the seller later and ask them to reduce the price. And I learned that from the beginning. I learned that as one thing I learned from Carol Clark, and she said, be true to yourself in this business. And what she meant by that is, don't artificially inflate prices just to get the listing, because in the end, it's not going to work for you.
Right.
So we had this conversation with the seller. They wanted to list it at one number. I wanted to list it at another number. And what we ended up agreeing to is that we met in the middle of what they wanted and what I wanted to list it with. And they agreed that if the house hadn't sold in 2 weeks,
very important point. Very, very important point.
That we would list it at the price that I suggested, and with that price I wrote down on the listing agreement, and they initialed it.
All right.
So
you
we
put
had
it in writing.
Put it in writing.
In 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, because I tried to explain to the seller that the most activity in your home is going to come at the beginning. Okay? And
why
the longer,
is that?
Because it's new, it's fresh, and people want what they can't have.
Right.
Okay? And the longer it's on the market, and you start adjusting the prices down, the lower it's going to go. So we agreed. We agreed to...
So you want to price it right from the beginning? From the beginning.
I wanted to price it right from the beginning. But they said, well, you know what? Let me talk with my wife tonight, and we'll get back to you tomorrow morning.
Right.
The next day she called me, and he called me and said, Ivory, you're going to like me. You're going to like what I have to say. And I said, what is that? He goes, we're going with your number. But I'm telling you that we only have a little bit to play with that number. Bottom line is, I sold the house in 24 hours for that number, for the exact price that I told them. And then what happened was but there were no comparables. The closest comparable was 20,000 less. So by coincidence, maybe about 2 weeks later, I'm having a lunch at Cafe Beach in Kokowak, and this lawyer came by. He's a lawyer in the Grove, and he wanted to know, Ivory, how's the market going? I told him, and he goes, I said that, things are selling really fast, which they were. There were multiple offers. He goes, oh yeah, I just had a deal. He said that fell through. One of my clients, I represent the seller, and they had an offer, a contract, and it fell through the house didn't appraise. He said, but my client's really lucky, Ivory, because they got another buyer that's a cash buyer, and he's going to close in 2 weeks, and he's paying $20,000 more. So I said, oh, that's great. And I thought that's great. But it didn't register to me. And I said, well, where's the house at? And he goes, oh, he said, it's in North Grove. And I said, oh, and he says, yeah. And he told me the address and everything. And I said, really? And he told me the exact number. Well, what's so important is that this house that's closing now for cash in 2 weeks would be a comparable for my listing. Yours. So now I wouldn't have a problem with my contract. And we were able to close on my contract. And it sold in 24 hours. So
and that's the beauty. You don't want a listing, right? You want a property that you can sell. Right. So that's a key
because
point.
It's you're spending your hard-earned money marketing the property.
Exactly.
You're going through that exercise. So you want to get something that you can sell.
And then you said, you spend a lot of money and time in marketing. You talk also about social media. You had a class yesterday, and you were mentioning to me that you have a strategy in social media that you didn't have before. Before you were just posting things about real estate, but now what you've seen that works for you is that.
Well, when I first started, I didn't quite understand how social media worked, especially Facebook. And Coldwell Banker, they had people come in and speak to us that could set up programs to automatically post things on our social media sites. Well, I signed up for it, and I did this for like a year and a half. But everything they were posting was all about real estate, something that's sold, or how to repair your house, or just things like that. But I saw the activity, the feedback that you get from Facebook was neutral. It wasn't moving up or down. So then a friend of mine told me, well, you have to make your Facebook page more interesting, and and he says you have to show the customer your a little bit of your personal side, that you're a person. Yeah. And so then, since I have a passion for traveling, I started putting posts in about some of my trips, picture photos of my trips. Sites that promotions for different areas around the world, the resorts and things, and then I start seeing it tick up. And then a couple postings I did, it went through the roof, and that really showed me that if I put in only real estate things,
very good point.
People are going to look at it. But if I put personal things and interesting articles in,
you combine that.
I'd stay away from politics.
Very important.
But but for like traveling
so it works for you, and I think it works for most people.
Working out, anything with health. It seems like people follow the page.
Perfect, excellent. So you told me you had a database of about 3,000 people, which is a lot of people. But you also mentioned that you have smaller database within, or smaller group within that database, which is about how many people? 90 people. And those are the people you really get.
Those are my core people that I get close to. I used to have a party every year for all my clients and some of the colleagues of other real estate companies that I did business with. And so I've developed this big relationship. But the 90 is people that, over 1 month I can call and talk to. And I usually talk to people. I don't call them and ask them, do you know somebody that's going to sell your house, or do you know somebody that's looking to buy? No, I call them and ask them about, if they had a health issue, what's going on, or something that went on in their street, or ask them, oh, you took this trip, just small talk. You
just need to be present. What you're doing on Facebook too. I know you can combine it with real estate.
I'm not a hard sell. I don't think people want that today. But I think that by being on their mind, if somebody is thinking about selling or buying,
being in their mind. That what you're doing on Facebook, it's not always about real estate, but you are in their mind.
They're going to think of me.
Okay. Now, one piece of advice that you would give a new agent. You've been in the business for 25 years, and Ivory, I'm just getting started. 2 or 3 things that you could tell me. I said one piece of advice, but what about 2 or 3 things that you could tell me that could accelerate my not only learning curve, but my commission?
I think that the number one advice I would give to a new agent is that when you get your real estate license, you need to go with a company that's going to give you the foundation, the tools, and the training to turn that license into dollars. because so many agents
turn the license into dollars. The license doesn't mean license doesn't mean dollars.
No, a lot of people, they get their license and they think they're king of the world now. They're going to make millions of dollars, and that this company offered me a 90% split, so they're going to go with that company. But that company might offer them a 90% split, but that company might also not give them any type of training to show them how to make money with their license. I just think in any business that the main thing is to get the proper foundation. Once you have that foundation, you can go wherever you want to go. You can go on your own if you want to. That can never be taken away from you.
The foundation is critical.
It's like almost like the way we were brought up as kids. You know,
and that's
our
the way
parents taught us, you know, either you have the integrity, you're not, if you don't have it, by the time you're an adult, you're not going to get it.
It's not going to happen.
That from your family.
Exactly, the foundation.
Right, and I think that
Very good
real
point.
estate is the same.
You need the foundation.
You need the foundation. And the other thing is to be timely. We are in a area of the country that time is not that important.
It's not important, right.
But it only takes one person for it to be important to. And that could mean you getting the listing or not. And real quick, if I can, I'll share a story. I got called for a listing presentation, and I was interviewing with 2 other realtors. There were 3 of us, and the appointment was at 2 o'clock. I remember the exact time. I used to, it depends, I still might do it. I go the night before, once I have the presentation, the appointment, I go the night before and I drop off.
Good tip. You go the night before.
And I drop an envelope off by the door or in their mailbox. And that envelope has a mini presentation of what we're going to discuss tomorrow.
Very good.
Because they will go to bed with that probably and browse through it with their wife or whatever, husband.
9 times. Very good
so
point.
So then when I go the next day, we're focused on what we're going to list the house for, not all the paperwork. You know.
Very good point. Saves time and get them prepared.
And they appreciate it. And I've already taken a picture of their house. I've already done a brochure. With the computer today, we can do that.
Of course.
So they get an idea of how I'm going to market their house. So my appointment was for 2 o'clock. I got there. It was like 5 minutes to 2. I pulled up in the driveway, and I was the last realtor that he interviewed. And the seller was on the porch, and he goes, "Well," he said, "nice to see that you know what on time means." And that was the first thing I thought, oh, this is good, you know. So come on in, you know. So I went in, and I'm going halfway through the presentation. He says, "You know what?" He just closed my pamphlet, and he says, "You got the listing." Because I'm going to tell you why. He said, "I interviewed 2 people before you, 2 of your competitors." And he said, neither one of them were on time. The first one was 15 minutes late.
Imagine.
The second one was, I forgot what time, but not only were they late, but they had to cut their listing short because they had to go pick up somebody or something.
Oh my God.
So he says, you know, time is important to me. And he said, I already can tell, I like the presentation that you dropped off in my mailbox yesterday. I think that we're going to have a good working relationship. So where do I sign?
Excellent. So, now, one piece of advice that you would give an experienced agent. For those who've been in the business.
Wow. I think for an experienced agent, you know, we've been in the business for so long that I think that we just need to remember to not get too emotionally involved in the transaction, to keep our eye on the ball, you know.
Focus. You mentioned that word before.
And stand back a little, just step back a little bit, and everything. We just can't try to micromanage too much, and that's what happens as we become more experienced and the longer we're in the business. So
especially if you want to become a top producer, micromanaging takes a lot of time. Learning to delegate a little bit. Ivory, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me in your beautiful offices in Coconut Grove in Coldwell Banker.
You're quite
welcome. And I wish you the best for the next 25 years. All right. So I know you like to have a great life outside work. So
you have to have a balanced life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it's about: being at peace with yourself and have a balanced life.
Thank you very much for having me. Okay.
You're quite welcome.
And guys, I'll see you in another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Make it a great day. Take care.